Now we're actually looking at assessing President Muhammadu Buhari's last days in office. Now we have with me in the studio here Comrade Collins Amadi. Collins Amadi is a grassroots politician, and of course, he's a member of the APC. Thank you for joining us, Collins Amadi.
Thank you very much, DPO, for having me.
All right, you've added weight. The last time I saw you before the election, you lost a lot of weight.
Probably because we have renewed hope, and my system is beginning to work fine.
Okay. Yeah. All right, talking about your system, we'll be talking towards the renewed hope. That's talking about the president-elect. But let's quickly look at the last days in office of President Muhammadu Buhari. We have been waking up to serious security threats in many parts of the country, from Benue State to Kaduna State to Niger State. In fact, so many parts of the nation is being besieged by these headers, kidnappers, and terrorists. And May 29th is fast approaching. What's your take on security issues so far?
Thank you very much. You will give it to the president within the last period of his administration, that even the issue of security, in short, have gained a lot of gains.
With over 130 people being killed in Benue.
A lot of gains, and that just happened.
You call that gain?
Yes, that happened a few days ago. Before now, over the time, in short, every day we're hearing on seriousness from, should I say, the part of the security agencies or the intelligence agencies, owing to the way security issues and challenges were coming up. But at the time, we realized that there was nothing much as that. But it just unfortunate a few days ago, we had skirmishes again of it coming up. But you will understand that you cannot root away the evil that has been planted in one day. Over the time, they have been trying to see how they can abel and make sure they do away with all of this. But unfortunately, it has not completely been eradicated. But you agree with me, there have been improvement and there have been gain. And that is why we pray that the incoming administration will do better, maybe have a different approach to consolidate the approach that was brought in, that in some area it brought gain, and in some area it failed. You know, not all the either policies that were introduced by this administration that completely had the gains we expected, especially in the area of security. But there are also areas of security we also give it to this administration. One, by way of acquiring of equipment, which over the time we saw the way equipment were being acquired, just to combat insecurity. Maybe in the area of ICT, they may not have done much in that area. And we believe that this incoming administration should invest more in security and making sure these special areas that have been mapped out by insurgents are looked into, you know, and other areas probably, because you may go this way and when they find out you are here, they go the other way. So I think generally Nigeria as a state should be well looked into by way of ICT. ICT can really help us, you know, to combating some of this.
So in your submission, you're saying that security-wise, this administration has done well?
They have done the best they can. They may not have done completely well, but I will give it to them that they have done well, because before they came in, we knew the state of the country when it comes to security. Even we in the down south were extremely scared that it was almost getting to our turn. A lot of local governments, in short, some part, almost half of the state, were taken away by insurgents and flags were being flew. You know, in many local governments, Kaduna, Kanu, Bonu, Adamawa, and what have you. But today, there is nothing like that. Nothing like that. But just that we still have one or two areas that have not completely, you know, been mapped out and captured back by the government. But in all share, there were no further spread. All they were doing was combating, and they have been able to combat as many they can from the insurgents. So by way of that, you must give it to them.
Now, there was a time they told Nigerians, this government informed Nigerians that Boko Haram have been defeated technically. And all of a sudden, they resurfaced again stronger and committed more havoc. Do you think there's a missing link between the military, the security agencies, and the government? Is there any missing link?
Yeah, but I believe at that time, Lai Mohammed, the spokesperson of the president, it went really viral and said, technically they have defeated the insurgents. You give it to them, at that point they said it truly. They were up and they were doing something. And everyone was seeing the fight and the push they were doing. And it wasn't easy to have even gone that mile at that time. But no, the way it was, there were a lot of sabotage as well. Now that you say you are doing well, and there are other people who basically want you to fail, who said, oh, you are doing well, they go out and initiate a new plan for you to look as if nothing was being done. And you know, immediately after they said that, less than a few months, that was when you see that most of the armory centers were being invaded by the insurgent and the enemy of the state. But however, still they went back and drew their plan, and Nigerians even made recommendations by way of saying they should excuse those who were in authority at that time, those who were in charge. And the president ordinarily didn't want to do it on time. But because the pressure was coming from different quarters that had stake, and he did, and brought in new set of leadership into the military, the army, and the police, as it were. But what I'm trying to say in nutshell is that sometimes when you are making moves to build things, especially when it comes to security, for example, you understand it's not easy. Like, for example, in Edo State, there were times we had serious serious kidnapping issue. It was so high.
In some part of the state.
In some part of the state, including the Benin City, as it were. And you realize that the Nigerian police, within the commissioner a bit at that time, were trying to think, what can they do, what can they do, what can they do? And they were almost overwhelmed. And they realized that they had a man, one officer Balogun, you know, who is in the state, that this man can do something better. And they brought him into the anti-kidnapping section and what have you. You saw the way Balogun was leading his team. I'm giving it to him because I'm not really a fan of people when they have starting up. But that officer was one man who showed capacity. You see him in the forest, you see him with his team everywhere. He was able to catch people. And today, I think, then he took over as head of that team. You can agree with me, there have been a lot of improvement. Just one man was asked to head because, one, there must be bravery, there must be commitment. You must first tell yourself, even if I die here, let me prove a point. I think that is what Nigerians actually need, even in facet of politics. The day we will get it rewrite, by saying someone says, if I don't deliver, I go nowhere, then we'll begin to get things right. Okay, and I pray very soon we'll get there.
There's no way we'll talk about the last days in office of the administration of Muhammadu Buhari without talking about the president-elect. Now, there's this saying then that the president, Muhammadu Buhari, he was called Baba Go Slow. That's because it took time before he implemented so many things. You talked about him taking time to implement some stuff. Do you think we should expect such, or say, when Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the president-elect, come on board?
I'm quite confident that he will do things different. Different not by way of maligning people or trying to say I'm an island. Because why I believe so? Because I believe he has always been the type who believes in teamwork. And in a governance or in any facet one finds itself, if you believe in teamwork and not saying, oh, let the glory come to me and let them say I did it. It's better 100 people do things and get results than 20 people do it. Now, in the area of security, for example, we overheard the president-elect, even before he became president-elect, have told us that when he takes over and if Nigeria gives him the opportunity to become president, that he was going to recruit as many as 50,000 into the force. And he said they really don't demand so much because most of them are very patriotic. What you need is to get Agbado, what have you, it became a song too to our people when someone was being realistic. And now what he had just said by so was that the basic things must be there. If you employ someone and he's getting the basic allowances and he can eat, feeds himself, he has enough strength to work for the nation. That was what he meant. So that is why people like us are there.
Including recruiting 50 million Nigerian youths.
Of course, if we have over 200 million in Nigerians, that means we have, within that range of statistics, we should have over 100 million of the youths. And if in over 100 million of the youths, For example, we say 70% are jobless. Let's say 30% are unemployable. And somebody is saying, I'm going to put in over almost 50 million into being busy, being engaged. It doesn't mean everybody must sit in an office. There are different areas where people can excel and where people can work and
that means someone like you will be leading a battalion.
And they will be earning.
Someone like you will be leading a battalion.
You never can tell if I'm giving the opportunity.
That's on a lighter
you can be sure. You can be sure I will make myself available to work for the betterment of the country. Okay. But I really believe that he's going to do something different because he believes in teamwork. He believes in bringing people together and let's get the result. And I've only led before in Lagos, and he has always placed his success to the team he kept using. And we are very sure that this time is not about Lagos. It's about picking and searching for the best across the country to deliver the best for Nigerians. So that this hardship Nigeria has gone through for over the time. The truth is that since the colonial masters left us, Nigerians have never said we have been okay with our self-leadership. We have always lamented. We have always complained. I was born into it. I grew up in it. And I have been bred in it. It's always been lamentation. But not until after one leaves, you now begin to give recommendation to others. I have heard someone who said Babangida and Abacha administration had been the best. And even when they were there, many people were saying, this one must go, this one must go. You know, just because as at that time, there was still lamentation. Okay. But my hope and prayer is that in earnest, Nigeria will begin to have sense of reason to say we will get there. Because we got to a stage that every hope was feeble. Every system was almost, everyone was almost feeling we can never get there again. Okay. So I am sure that with Bola Ahmed Asiwaju coming in, he should be focused. He should not come for vengeance. It's not a time to come and fight, but it's a time to come and really show Nigerians that you can lay a more strong and a better foundation for incoming generation to consolidate upon. So, but however, he's a great man, and I believe all we need to do for him is to continually to pray for him, that God will keep him in good health, and make sure those who interest and intentions are to bring Nigerians down do not have a place in that government. Because, you know, when election comes like this, there are so many people who have either show way of commitment and solidarity to making sure the person wins an election. Okay. And sometimes it may almost be like you need to compensate this person. Okay. I would have loved us to talk about, come up and they start failing.
I would have liked us to talk about the cash crunch. It's still biting hard as far as the country is concerned. But Charity Tanko is standing by now. Charity Tanko. Okay. We'll get back to Charity in a jiffy. Charity
Independent Tanko. Television.
All right, let's come back to the studio. So quickly, let's take get your thought on the cash crunch. Some members of the APC felt Governor Godwin Emefiele, the central bank governor, was actually brought in by the PDP government. And as such, he was actually brought in to disrupt the electoral process of 2023. Do you share that light?
Yes, I actually was one of those who propagated that. Because indices and attitude and the kind of leadership is shown when Nigerians needed succor was made obvious that he was intended on something very different. Because there was no human sympathy to our mothers, our brothers, our sisters, us, whose business was completely grounded. Like mine was grounded. For almost 1 month, I couldn't even operate the very manageable restaurant I was trying to operate, you know, because I needed cash and I needed to cook. People need to eat, and in returns, I need to do some exchange. You know, but unfortunately, I couldn't do that. But now, I'm trying to, even the transfer at the time, to even getting the POS, even if you don't transfer, and I'm going to the market to go buy tomatoes, to go buy gari, to go buy yam, does this woman, will they take transfer? I had to travel out of Benin to go and get yam. On getting, they haven't seen the yams. I say, I want to do transfer. They refused me. Up to 4 shops. I had to come back to Benin, buying only less than 20 pieces of yams. But what am I not trying to say? These were challenges over the time that the people had faced. Now, they say if you are sent an errand like an errand boy, you just attend to that errand like a king or act like a master. Then people will respect you. Now, no matter what policies the Emefiele agenda was, probably it may have been a good one. You would have checked the timing. The timing at the time, some of them, even him himself, at the time said that they were also trying to make sure there was no money circulation for politicians to use. How can you just bring up a policy that you are bringing these policies because you wanted politicians not to spend money? Then it was meant for a particular interest. It was meant to fail. Okay. If it was not meant to fail, it should be every policies that government should propagate should be a long-term policies. All right. The policies that will help the system grow.
We are still looking at the last days of the president in office. Now, cash crunch is something Nigerians will not forget in a hurry.
Not at all.
As a matter of fact, we are still experiencing it very hard. Where do you think they are missing it, and what can be done to quickly salvage this issue? And
yes, I think right now, while we are kind of still in it emotionally here, I just came from travel. I think I was in Abuja, from there to Lagos for quite almost 2 weeks or thereabout. And I realized that all of these things have since been abated. Life is moving on very fine in those other areas. You know, well, you know, even when you come to POS exchange and all of that, I had to take 20,000 with 200 naira. Even in Ijebu-Ode. In Ijebu-Ode. So 20,000 with 200 naira.
Ijebu-Ode is Ogun State.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So what I'm trying to say is that sometimes our people have a way of creating self-affliction to ourselves. Okay. Now our people needed to protest because they felt things weren't working well. You started destroying the public assets. You started destroying the public facilities made for you and I. Today, go to all of Ababa, no one is working. Go to Opasak Mobile, even the only two banks. The banks they have there, even the banks are not functional, the ATMs are not working. So the few ones that are left are being japanted by the citizenry. People will come all the way from Upper to beginning of Saple Road. People will come from Ugbawa, coming towards First Bank and Tring Road or what have you, just to. Now, who are you going to blame? We should blame ourselves. Okay. And some of those our youth who are not coordinated. You don't have to be violent. You don't have to destroy government facilities meant for your usage just because you feel misgruntled or you feel things are not working well. The last NSAS, we were still trying to go through all of that. And that is why sometimes I feel very disappointed with the kind of young offspring we have who claims that they want to take over the country.
Colin Samadi, we are actually out of time now and we need to end the program. And thank you
very
so much for your time. All right, that is it on the program TMI.